I believe, Harlan, can you mute yourself, please? Thank you. I just leave. Perfect. Excellent. Okay, it is 9:31 local time. So we will go ahead and get started. Welcome to IETF 123 and the first session of the week. This is the NTP working group meeting. We'll start out with a few reminders. First of all, this is the note well. These are the rules and processes by which the IETF operates. You have agreed to abide by all of these when you register to attend this meeting, either in person or virtually. If you have any questions about any of these, feel free to ask Dieter or myself or Eric Klein, who is our area director. This is just a couple of additional things just to help you remember these things. We do have an anti-harassment policy. If you have any concerns about observed behavior, we do also have an ombuds team, and that's available. You can find that on the data tracker and other places. And if you need confidentiality to raise any concerns. We are a global environment, and so we have a lot of cultural differences, and we want to maintain an environment in which people are treated with dignity, decency, and respect. These are slides that were put together by the leadership of the IETF and the LLC. So this is their guidance for us for these meetings. So if you have any questions, feel free again to talk to myself or Dieter or Eric. So some meeting tips. I already mentioned this before the meeting started, but be sure you're signed in via data tracker. So you can sign in or use the QR code. We will be using the mic, and in order to be, you have to be signed in order to join the queue or to participate in any show of hands that we might have. For remote participants, the queue is managed. You join the queue in the same manner as everybody else. So we strongly recommend the use of a headset, and make sure your audio and video are off unless you're chairing or presenting. So those are the meeting tips that are provided. This is our agenda for the day. We have the agenda bashing from an administrative standpoint. Dieter will be taking notes. Anybody wants to contribute to those notes, they are linked from the data tracker. So there's all of the buttons associated with this meeting. One of these is the notes taking tool, and we use that to take all of our minutes. So you can help Dieter out by adding additional information in there as needed. And that's the remainder of the agenda. Any questions or any agenda bashing? And at this point, Eric wants to have the floor for a moment.
Yes, thank you very much. Just a reminder that now is the time in our annual cycle where the NOMCOM has released the list of open positions that need to be filled. I do not intend to run for a fourth term, so if you want to be an internet area director or director of any other area or an IAB member or fulfill any of the other positions posted, you should please apply. You can nominate yourself. You should nominate yourself. If you would like to be nominated, I can nominate you for you. If you would like to find out what it means to be an area director, there are at least two things you can do. three things you can do. One is there's an Ask Me Anything AMA session on Thursday. It's on the calendar. I can't make that, so second thing you can do is chase me down, and I can answer any questions about being an int AD specifically. And the third thing you can do is chase down anyone else who is or has been an area director, and pepper them with questions as well. So please give it some thought. Thank you.
There are a lot of open leadership positions in the IETF. It's a lot of, and we strongly encourage new people to step forward and take advantage of them. All right. The next thing is just a quick status of documents. Rough time, we did a working group last call earlier this year. We had a virtual interim roughly a month or so ago. And rough time is ready to go to the IESG. The only thing we're holding up on is a Shepherd write-up. If anybody would like experience and would like to try their hand at doing a Shepherd write-up, feel free to step forward. Otherwise, myself or Dietra will do that. And then the second one is the NTP over PTP document that's also ready to go to the IESG. We have two new RFCs that we also acknowledged in the virtual interim, but I wanted to go ahead and acknowledge them again here. The first one is the NTP interleave modes. And so in particular, thank you to Miroslav for all the work he did on that. And then the second one is the enterprise profile for PTP. I'd like to thank Doug and Heiko for all the work that they did in getting that one finally through the process and wrapping up the work of the TikTok working group. For those of you who will recall, when we rechartered a few years back, we rechartered the NTP working group to be the Network Time Protocols working group. And so it also incorporates any work that the IETF needs to do in the context of other protocols besides NTP, including rough time and PTP. So with that, the TikTok working group has been made dormant, I guess. Pardon? It is actually closed. Okay. I was a tiny bit confused by the message on Data Tracker when I was looking at it. So, okay, maybe that was it. So, in any event, all work at this stage is coming here. So that brings us to the next item on the agenda. I was going to ask Heiko to do a 1588 update. Tell us some of the work ongoing there.
Destroyed my badge. Yeah, okay. I just want to, as an intro, say that I have no official role in the 1588 working group, so I'm not a liaison, let's say, officer or anything like that. I just happen, like a few of you, to work in both working groups, and yeah, have been asked to give you a very short overview of what's going on over there. 1588. Or the IEEE standard decided a while ago that we are changing the mode of operation, how to maintain the standard and to create new revisions. We do roll-up revisions every 5 years, at least that was the plan, right? So the last published standard was in 2019. We are currently working on the roll-up, and if you do the math, you see that, okay, 5 years didn't work out well. But in general, there are, let's say, amendments being added to the last published version of the standard, and at a certain point, again, more or less 5 years, every 5 years, all these amendments which have been published will be combined into a new roll-up revision, and then the standard is basically published again with those amendments built in. And so one of these roll-up revisions is basically, I think the first one is currently under works. That is one big part of the work of the 1588 working group. There are a number of amendments already in the work as well. Those are not making it into the roll-up revision. They are going into the next roll-up revision. One notably is security upgrade or a security, let's say, maintenance standard called 1588K. So these amendments get letters attached to the standard. That's going on. There are some others. This being able to disable the announce message is another amendment. Some communities ask for that. Up until today, the announce message cannot be basically not used in a 1588 profile, for example. There's some other work dealing with asymmetry calibration and so on. So that's going on. One of the bigger things that's going on is a new version of PTP, or a new, let's say, variant of PTP that is using client-server mode that has been now designated to be called CSPTP, so client-server PTP. This is going to be published under IEEE 1588.1. So these DOT standards do not automatically mean that they are compatible or interoperable with, let's say, the parent number. In this case, CSPTP is using the message format, so on the wire a message format from 1588, but it is using a very NTP-like approach of basically having a stateless client-server way of operating. So the mechanics are very similar. The current state of that work is that there has been a contribution brought forward by a couple of companies, Meta, my own company, Meinberg, Microchip, and some others, NetTime Logic. And at the moment, there's a vote going on to adopt this contribution as, let's say, the working draft. So as a starting point, not to have to start from scratch. So that is currently done. We did some experiments with this during the hackathon here. And one of the declared goals is, at least from my side, I can only speak for myself here, is that we are using NTS to secure CSPTP, and that's possible. And according to what we researched, is possible because of the, let's say, similarities in between CSPTP and NTP from the protocol mechanics side of things. Yeah, so I think that's probably all. Any questions?
I don't see any hands.
Okay,
Thank you.
very good. Thank you.
I've been providing the 1588 update for a while, and I decided it was nice to have somebody else talk about it. So at this stage, Tal, did you want to tell us the status of the NTP v5 effort?
Yeah, sure. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Oh, and I can see you. Great.
Okay, so this is a short update about the NTP v5 spec, and mostly a summary of the changes since the last IETF meeting, since IETF 122. So basically, a few of the sections have been revised, and these are mostly editorial changes. So this includes the abstract, the introduction, the basic concepts section, and also the security considerations section. And these changes may look like significant changes, but we didn't change the functionality of the protocol. It was mostly adding more descriptions, extending. These sections were pretty short beforehand, and now they're more detailed. So this is one aspect of the document. The differences between version 5 and version 4 were moved to a separate section. So they're still there, but they just have their own section now. beyond that, there's also a bunch of different updates related to different issues. Some of these were discussed on the mailing list. For example, the poll interval discussion, which as a result of that, there was a recent update to the document, which now reflects the most updated functionality based on these discussions. And one more aspect which we kind of slightly discussed in the interim meeting is related to the requirement document. So one of the things we did was kind of a comparison between the requirement document and the NTP v5 spec. And we tried to see whether they are aligned, whether all the requirements on the requirement document have actually been reflected in the NTP v5 spec. And there's a list of kind of a mapping between the two, which is available on GitHub. But the main point is that in most cases, they're aligned. We found about 5 issues which may need handling. 3 of them are pretty easy to fix in the NTP v5 spec, and we plan to do that. And there were 2 open issues we raised on the mailing list, and there was a little bit of discussion about them. But I guess the discussion specifically about these 2 open issues is still ongoing. So we'll try to close that on the mailing list and hopefully address that in the next couple of months. I think that kind of summarizes what we did so far. I think we still have a few action items listed that we want to do in the next couple of months in the spec, including what I just mentioned with the open issues related to requirements and also a few other issues. And we're also open to feedback and comments about the revision we did over the last couple of months.
Okay, are there any questions for Tal? Well, it's pretty easy. As a couple of reminders, the GitHub repo for the NTP v5 document is, well, the GitHub repo for the whole working group is linked from the data tracker for the working group. And the NTP v5 document is over there. So you can feel free to put in any pull requests over there for small, for issues or whatever you wish to do. So you can see the current state of the document. And also, Tal alluded to this, but at this stage, we've decided to pause work on the NTP v5 requirements and just focus on getting the spec done and out the door. And the key parts of the motivation and those kinds of things are being reflected back into the NTP v5 spec. All right. Any questions? Nope. Thank you very much, Tal.
Thank you.
So next on the agenda is the work ongoing NTS for PTP. One of the things I wanted to point out before Martin starts talking, because we have a number of words flying around. We're currently looking at NTS for both PTP and CSPTP. And so this activity right here is the one for PTP. And we're still sussing out what CSPTP will look like and how NTS can apply to that. Martin?
Yes, hello. So yeah, to be honest, there is not much news to report from our side at the moment. The development of NTS for PTP draft document is currently on hold, as some security aspects first need to be discussed and defined in the IEEE 1588 Security Subcommittee. At present, it appears that NTS for PTP will function solely as a key management system, while the application of the security parameters and keys will be part of the PTP standard. So this is possibly the biggest shift now. And it's not final, but it looks like this is the way we are making progress. We are currently reviewing a number of aspects, such as replay protection, and I believe that we are making progress. It's a bit slow, but securing PTP is very complex. PTP has a lot of modes, different clocks, different situations. Therefore, it's not easy to find a proper way to secure PTP. And especially, we don't want a security solution only for NTS for PTP. We also want a security solution for CSPTP, for a GDI-based key management system. So therefore, we need something for all kinds of possible security mechanisms or key management systems. Rainer and I will update the draft document for NTS for PTP in the coming weeks, but there will only be minor changes. And I think bigger changes will follow as soon we have specific agreements on, for example, how we perform or how we do the replay protection or how to transmit specific information. So keys, for example, or not keys, security parameters in the PTP packets. So yeah, it takes some time, but we are making progress. So yeah, this is the current situation.
Any questions on the NTS for PTP? Thank you, Martin. I'd like to remind everybody that these documents are available, and we really do need people to be reading them and reviewing them. So comments are always welcome on the mailing list. Next is, oh, excuse me. Oh, sorry. I didn't know I see you in the queue. Is it not on? You can come up here if you'd like.
I just want to say
Remote.
I think I need to be reminded, do we need any formal request from IEEE or anything like that for doing this work for their protocol or something like that? Or is it all, are we all good? Am I going to get questions by other area directors when this comes to the telechat about?
We have, there is the high level IEEE IETF liaison effort, and we have never established a separate liaison specifically for 1588, and I have been informally acting in that role. So they're well aware of what we're doing, and they want us to do the NTS pieces, and they're doing the PTP pieces.
Okay, so if that's reflected in the Shepherd write-up, that's probably satisfactory for any ADs who might wonder about why we're doing.
Right. I think it would be the same kind of text that we put in the Shepherd write-up for the enterprise profile.
Yeah.
We also have an agreement that
Yes.
we can give document access to the PTP documents for people that are working on PTP-related things in the IETF.
Okay, thank you. Just dotting I's and crossing T's before they come to bite me.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, NTS for pools. NTS for NTP pools.
Yeah, so there's been a draft now published about half a year ago, I think, maybe a bit more than that. Basically, the idea is that we want to get more adoption for NTS because it's still not that widely deployed on the open internet. And one of the identified barriers is that it's currently quite hard for users to set up NTS because you need to choose your own servers, which means that you need to look at a list of them, figure out which ones are close to you. That's a hassle barrier. So the idea is that if we can get a pool in place for that, that could lower the adoption barrier significantly. The current draft that is out there right now is basically some modifications to the key exchange protocol to allow a pool to act as a key exchange server. We are currently at the stage that we have an experimental setup for this that is working. If you want to have a server added to that pool, please contact us. We are open for more pools. We have a timeline where we can move this to a reasonably production-ready setup in a relatively short term. So the proposal from us right now is that this draft is ready for adoption by the working group if there's interest in that, or that we can move to publishing this as an independent standard documenting how our pool works. I guess that's going to be the discussion going forward, what the interest is in that.
One quick question on this. I noticed that we had talked about doing this as an experimental RFC, and I see the intended status is standards track, or because the adoption question is quite different for experimental versus standards track.
I'm not sure which would be the better one, given what we're going to do with it. So currently our goal is to run a pool with 99% uptime and everything from 2026 onward, for as long as we can get funding completed for that. So we have funding for 2026 for that. But I'm not sure if experimental or standards track status would be the best here, given that plan.
Try again, see if it works. Is it turned on?
Now it's on?
Yes.
Oh, there we go. All right. I haven't read the draft, so I don't know how extensive the protocol changes are. Are there any protocol changes, or is it all operational?
There are some protocol changes. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we define 5 new records for the NTS key exchange, and there's probably going to be a 6th because we're running into some trouble that we haven't fixed in the current draft, but that's going to require probably a 6th record.
And does this use a regular built-in extension mechanism, or do you actually need to update the NTS protocol?
It basically uses the record format that's already there and just defines some new records and some new interactions with those records.
So that might be doable in experimental. I think I need to double check. That said, if you do pursue experimental, then it's customary to have a section that says this is the experiment, and these are sort of the parameters that we're going to measure and report back. First, the parameters that will determine success of the experiment, and so on. Not every experiment actually ever gets back around to reporting its success status, and there's no due date, or anything like that, or deadline. But I think the only thing that's coming to mind that might be concerning is having an experimental draft formally update something. But if it's extensions or additions, that's probably okay. I think I'll need to check the contents of the draft.
Can you repeat that last sentence?
I think I need to check the contents of the draft to see how
Okay.
whether or not NTS, if NTS is just being like actually updated, or it's just adding some extensions where an extension system was already defined.
Let's see what's actually done.
Yeah. If it's just adding an extension where extensions were already defined or supported, then that's what extension mechanisms are for. So it's kind of like not an updates.
It's a bit complicated. It does also modify some of the semantics once these extensions are present, in the sense that some of the musts in the NTS RC are basically, we're saying, well, if you send this extension field, you don't actually have to do those.
I see. So it's probably better if it's PS then. or standards track.
Standards track.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I guess the question I had versus for experimental was the conversation we had on this in Dublin, was this is one approach to doing pools and there could be others. And we haven't actually done a call to see, are there other approaches?
Well, we know of a few other approaches.
And that was my concern about standardizing an approach. That's why I thought we were doing experiment. That's why I thought we originally agreed to experimental.
would proposed status for this actually preclude other people from doing other approaches?
No. And furthermore, if you don't implement the spec, you won't notice it's there. So as long as you don't touch these extension fields, you don't have to worry about the spec existing.
Okay.
I mean,
So-
I agree. Experimental would be nice if it's because it could be an experiment, but if there's
And I guess technically we have been known to change the status of something after we've started working on it, but
yeah, that's all fixable.
yeah,
And up until a point. Yeah.
right. But so just to clarify, David, you're saying that you can implement this spec and people that are doing straight NTS as currently documented won't be impacted.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right. Is there any questions or comments on this document? All right. So the next step for this would be whether we want to do a call for adoption or not on this. I think we need a little bit more discussion on the mailing list. So if I could ask you to post to the mailing list a reminder that this document has been updated and that we're going to ask for a call for adoption, and we will pursue that call for adoption in the time frame leading up to our next virtual interim.
Okay.
Is that acceptable?
Should be.
All right. And, any updates you have on how the pool is working or how the experiment is going would be welcome to the mailing list or here.
Well, so far it seems to be working fine, but we haven't really started putting a load on it. So we'll see over the next few weeks.
Okay. This is definitely a good step forward because it is one of the major barriers to getting NTS more widely deployed. So thank you for that. Any questions? Okay. The next item is an update on, we did have a small hackathon table this time, and David is also going to report out on all of the work that was done there.
Yeah, so update on the hackathon. There was some work on NTS pools. We have a pool running. We have servers in that pool. We added a few servers during the hackathon from people who spent some time during the hackathon trying to set one up. Experience from that was that it was reasonably straightforward to set up once you have a server running that is actually reachable from the internet. That honestly was for most people the largest barrier. We've done some work on NTP v5 in that the two major implementations, Crony and NTP DRS, now support the same draft version again. We did not do much interoperability testing. That's still on the to-do list for some point. I don't expect many troubles there, but we'll see once we actually do that testing. And finally, there's been some work on CSP2P in combination with NTS, which is more in the 1588 realm. We have a few, we've made a few CSP2P implementations and started experimenting a bit with adding NTS on top of those, but we're not anything concrete there yet. And I think that covers everything, unless I'm missing something else.
All right. For anybody interested in any of the code repos that were associated with the work that was done this week, they're all linked from the hackathon wiki. So if you Google IETF 123 hackathon and find the wiki associated with the hackathon, it'll have a description of all the various project pieces with links to documentation. and give you an idea of what was going on. So thank you to everybody who participated in that. And maybe it's because it's first thing in the morning, but we seem to be ripping right through all of this. So we have come to any other business. Is there any other business? Anybody have any last minute questions? Okay, we will plan a virtual interim in the September timeframe, and our next physical, so we'll have a virtual meeting in September, and the next NTP at an IETF meeting will be in Montreal in November. And with that, I give you all an extra hour and a half in your day.
No, I think yes. Yeah, it should be. So there's cases where you're not supposed to implement protocol, but you should basically not do the standard exchange. But they're only if you understand these things.